So, good afternoon everyone. So, welcome to another session of structural analysis, and in this class yesterday we have discussed about few basic concepts and what are the necessity of doing analysis and all, isn't it? And just an overview of this subject. So, today we will take down one small problem which is related to mechanics of materials which we have studied in the previous semester. Alright. So, we know what is shear force, isn't it? What do you mean by shear force? Shear force is something when the force is acting tangentially. Suppose for example, we have a column here, and we have a beam here. Okay. So, when we have a column and we have a beam here, so what will happen here is we have this beam column joint, isn't it? We will be having a beam column joint. So, there at that particular point the column and the beam will experience shear, that means tangential force. Either it may be in horizontal direction or in vertical direction or in z direction or perpendicular direction. So that is why here at this particular portion you will be the beam and column will be experiencing large amount of shear force. Okay, and in the previous cases also, when you have studied shear force for a simply supported beam, we used to draw shear force diagram when the beam is loaded with single point load. What we used to do, we used to draw shear force diagram, right? So shear force diagram, how it will go? Generally shear force diagram will go in this manner, isn't it? What will happen to the shear force? It will go like this, then here like this, then here. This is positive and this is negative. So what do you mean by this one? At this particular junction, beam column junction, we have maximum shear force, isn't it? Here also it is maximum shear force, and at the center shear force will become 0. Okay, shear force will change its sign. That is why we, in case of our beams, we have beams, right? This is our beam. So I'll draw a big section here of a beam. So what will happen to the beam? We'll be having main rods, isn't it? We'll be having top reinforcement and bottom reinforcement. Okay, top reinforcement and bottom reinforcement, and we'll be having rings also, isn't it? This rings, to hold the rods we use rings, isn't it? So these rings are actually said to be shear reinforcement. What is that actually? Shear reinforcement. It is not just rings or ties and all. It is nothing but shear reinforcement. So shear reinforcement, that actually shear force, with the help of shear force we calculate number of rings. What we calculate? With the help of shear force we calculate shear reinforcement or rings or lateral ties, whatever it may be. So whenever you come across any construction site or any other site, you can see that rings will be spaced very closely at the junction of beam and column. Okay, what they will do at this junction till L by 4 and L by 4, the spacing of the rings will be 150 mm from center to center. Okay, 150 mm center to center. 8 mm rings at 150 mm center to center, and as they cross the span of L by 4, what will happen? The spacing of the rings will get increased. That means at this junction they will increase it to 200 mm center to center or 250 mm center to center. Alright, so it will happen. Why? Because shear force will be coming down, or the value of shear force will get decreased because of the shear force. Okay, reinforcement will get decreased. And we also draw bending moment diagram also below this figure, isn't it? We used to draw bending moment diagram, WL by 4, isn't it? So bending moment diagram, your bending moment diagram will help you in calculation of this main reinforcement. This either 12 mm dia or 12 mm dia in top, this is bottom. So in case of beams, what will happen? Your shear force will help you in calculation of shear reinforcement, and bending moment will help you in calculation of this main rods. That is why we always focus on bending moment. What is the maximum bending moment in the beam? Okay, bending moment. So many calculations we have done, isn't it? What is calculate shear force and bending moment? Calculate shear force and bending moment. Reason of calculation of shear force and bending moment is to finally achieve the spacing of bars, number of rings and number of rods. Either it may be 12 mm or 16 mm or 16 mm or 16 mm, depends. It depends. Okay. So this is what actually is your structural analysis. In this figure, the shear force, again we cannot see shear force. Bending moment, we cannot see bending moment, but bending moment will exist. Shear force will exist. These external forces we can see, isn't it? When you come across, in the same case, when you come across a beam, when the beam is loaded uniformly, suppose for example we have a beam, a simply supported beam, and it is loaded with uniformly distributed load. Okay. So what will happen to the shear force of this figure? What will happen to the shear force? Shear force diagram will go like this, isn't it? This is minus and this is plus. So shear force will go, one portion will be positive and another one will be negative. So what will happen to the shear force again? At the supports, the shear force is maximum. Alright, even the beam is loaded with uniformly distributed load. What is happening? The beam will experience maximum shear force, and at the same time, what will happen to the bending moment? Bending moment will increase at that particular point. Okay, so shear force again will help you in calculation of shear reinforcement, and again your bending moment, in this case also bending moment will help you in calculation of main reinforcement. What do you mean by main reinforcement? Main reinforcement is nothing but the top reinforcement and bottom reinforcement. Okay, we have different types of beams in RCC again. So top reinforcement and bottom reinforcement, all the things will be calculated depending upon the value of bending moment. So in this particular class, what we will do, we'll try to take down one small problem on shear force and bending moment, how to calculate shear force and how to calculate bending moment. That one problem we will see, and from tomorrow onwards and from next class onwards, we will be starting our slope deflection method. Okay, that is very important subject, topic, and it is very helpful in calculation of moments and other things. So I will draw a simple figure . I will draw a simply supported beam. We have seen this type of beam in our second years also, isn't it? In mechanics of materials, we have seen this one. So let us take it as the beam is having a UDL of intensity 3 kilonewton per meter over a span of 4 meters, and one point load of 50 kilonewton after the UDL of after 3 meters from UDL. So what I will do, I will draw here A, B, C, D. Alright. So what will happen to the reactions? We'll try to calculate what here? We have to calculate shear force and bending moment for the beam shown in figure. So we have to draw shear force and bending moment for the given beam. The beam is visible, right? Right. So before calculation of shear force and bending moment, the very first thing which we do is to calculate reactions. Without reactions we cannot calculate anything, isn't it? So first what we will do, we'll try to calculate this reactions RA and RD. How will you calculate RA and RD? We have equilibrium equations. So what is equilibrium equations? Solution: sigma y is equal to 0. So all the forces are in vertical and downward upward and downward direction. All are vertical forces. So we can write here as RA plus RD. Two forces are going in upward direction, whereas two forces, that is minus 50 and minus 3 into 4 is 12, isn't it? How we got 12? Because it is 3 kilonewton per meter. So ultimately 3 into 4 will be 12. Any other vertical forces we have here? No, isn't it? Is equal to 0. So RA plus RD, 50 minus minus 62. So is equal to 62, I can write, right? Equation number 1. Now moment of all forces about point A is equal to 0. Now you have to be very careful again, since we have moment, bending moment. Now from tomorrow, from next class onwards, we'll be having fixed end moments. Okay, so one by one we are studying new things. So be careful in calculation of only moment, bending moment and fixed end moments. Okay, these three things are completely different. Mathematically it is force into perpendicular distance only, but still there are few limitations in case of this normal moment. This moment is from engineering mechanics. So this moment is from engineering mechanics. So for calculation of moment, what you will do? If you are calculating moment at A, summation of all moments at point A, so what I will do? I will take down the forces. Shall I take this force? Shall I consider this force? Because, yeah, yes or no? No, right? Why? Because this force is passing through point A, right? So whenever any force, whenever it is passing through point A, then we will not consider it. Why? Because moment will not happen when force is passing through that particular point, isn't it? When you hold a bag like this, in this position, what will happen to your hand? Your body will experience rotation, isn't it? When you keep your bag on your shoulder, what will happen? The body will experience rotation? No. That is why there is no moment when you keep your bag in this fashion. Whereas when you keep the bag on this particular position, then it will pain as well as it will rotate, isn't it? So the same thing will happen here. So we will not consider this force when we calculate moment about point A. So what about this one? 50 into 3 clockwise. So 50 into 3. Then what about this one? 3 into 4 is the load. It is going in clockwise direction. 3 into 4 is the load, and the entire weight or entire UDL will act exactly at the center of mass, that is at this center. So what will be this distance? This is 2 meter. Okay, center. So 2 meter and 6 meter, how much? 8 into 8, isn't it? What about another one? Minus RD into how much? 10 is equal to 0. So now 50 into 3 is 150 plus 3 4s are 12. 12 8s are 84, 96. 96 is equal to 10 RD, I can write, isn't it? So what about RD now? 150 plus 96 divided by 10? 2 246 by 10. Okay. So RD is equal to 24.6 kilonewton, and whereas your RA, we can substitute the value of RD in equation number 1. So 62 minus 24.6 is how much? 50? Huh? 37.4. So 37.4 kilonewton. So this is your RA and this is RD. Okay. So RA and RD, we will calculate reactions, we will calculate with the help of our equilibrium equations, that is either sigma x is equal to 0, sigma y is equal to 0 and sigma m is equal to 0. In case of calculation of reactions, sigma m is equal to 0, we calculate moment, general moment, that is moment from which we have studied in engineering mechanics. We consider all the forces. In case of bending moment, what we will do? In case of bending moment, either left or right of the section or right of the point or any other location, wherever we have to calculate. So this is how we calculate reactions. After this one, we will go for, you can copy down this one, right? So you can pause the video and copy down. After we'll do now, we'll try to project all the starting points and ending points of the forces. Then we'll start the calculation, that is shear force calculation. So in case of simply supported beam, you can calculate shear force either from left or right of the section, isn't it? Either from left side of the beam or right side of the beam. And we know the sign conventions, isn't it? When you calculate from left to right, upward forces will be positive and downward forces will be negative. When you calculate from right to left, then upward forces will be negative and downward forces will be positive. Okay, you have to be very careful in calculation of these forces. So we will try to calculate from left to right, okay, from here to here, from A to D, so that the calculation will become easy. Upward forces positive, downward forces negative. So what will happen to shear force at A? What is the value of RA we have? 62. Okay. So we have the values of RA and RD there. So what is the shear force at A? What is the force acting at A? It is going in upward direction. So directly 37.4 kilonewton. Okay. Next, what is the next point we have at B? Now I am calculating from, I have calculated A. Now I am moving towards B. So in between B, do you find any force? No force, isn't it? So what I will do, whenever you come across point loads, we have to calculate shear force two times. One is the way which you have passed through, that is I have started from A to B. My calculation is from A to B. In between A to B there is no force. So what I will do here, 37.4 kilonewton, I will write the previous value. Okay, then at B, what will happen? Suddenly what happens? We have point load. So point load, what is the previous value? Previous value is 37.4 and this 50 kilonewton is going in downward direction. So minus 50. How much? Minus 12.6. Minus 12.6 kilonewton. Okay. So whenever you see point loads in between the beam, then what you have to do? You have to calculate two times. Okay. One, as if you have just reached B. After that, suddenly it will change. Okay. After that, we have at C. See here, from B to C, do we have any load? No load. So what we will do? We will take the previous value. What is the previous value we have? Minus 12.6 kilonewtons. Now, do we have point load here? No. Then what we have to do now? No need to calculate suddenly and all those things. If we would have any point load there, then we have to calculate one more time, that is suddenly we have to calculate. Then from C to D, what is happening from C to D, you tell me? at D we have a UDL which is going in downward direction. So what is the previous value we have? Minus 12.6 is the previous value. UDL is going in downward direction, so again minus 3 into 4, 12. What is the value? Minus 24.6 kilonewton, isn't it? Now at D, what happens? Suddenly it is going in, there we have a point load. So at D, it's up to you, either you will calculate or not, because it is end point. Suddenly what happens? Minus 24.6, and RD is going in the upward direction, so plus 24.6, which is equal to 0. So you have to get 0 or else at least same value but in opposite sign. Okay, so this is how we calculate shear force. So as soon as you calculate shear force, what I will do? I will take down the markings over there. That is, A is at A 37.4. So it is 37.4. Then we have B 37.4, same value. As soon as you mark it, you try to join it immediately, otherwise you will get confused. Okay. Then what happens at B? Suddenly it is coming down, that is minus 12.6, somewhere here. Minus 12.6. So the shear force is decreasing at this particular point, minus 12.6. Then at C what happens? No change. So that is 12.6. Okay. Then at D what happens? It changes to 24.6, somewhere here. So we will have an inclined line. Okay. So when you see the shear force diagram, you have to interrelate what is the load acting on the beam. Okay. Sometimes they may not give you this one. Sometimes what happens, they may not give you these forces. Okay. It does not happen every time. Rarely, if they want to confuse students, especially for supplementary examinations or something like that, if during that particular difficult times, what they will do, they will try to remove the forces and they will try to give you the diagram. So with the help of this diagram, you have to relate it. Okay. And sometimes you have to be very careful. See here, whenever you see inclined line, you have to interrelate that you have UDL. If you do not have any force, a horizontal line, that means there is no force on the beam. Okay. Similarly, when there is sudden change, then you can experience that we have a sudden point load over there. Okay. So these shear force diagrams, graphically they will help you what is actually happening on the beam. Okay. So this actually guide you how to provide reinforcement also. See here, in this particular beam, we have to provide shear reinforcement, that is rings. Maximum number of rings to be provided at this portion of the beam. Similarly, maximum portion of the rings to be provided at this portion, whereas here we can increase the spacing. Able to understand? At this particular region where we don't have any load, so we can increase the spacing of rings, that is either it may be 300 mm or 8 inches or 7 inches or 9 inches. It depends on the intensity of the shear force. Whereas here we generally provide the reinforcement very in a closed spacing. Okay. So after this one, we can make it as positive, negative and negative like this. Next condition is we can go for the bending moment diagram. So bending moment diagram, we all know what bending moment calculation. So bending moment calculation is very easy, very simple. Why? Because in case of simply supported beam, the best part is we do not have bending moment at end supports. Okay, so bending moment at A and D will be completely 0, whereas bending moment at B and bending moment at C will exist. So bending moment calculation at A and D it is 0, and at B what will happen at B? Now bending moment, either you calculate from left side of the point or right side of the point. Wherever it is easy, you can take it. So we can take it on left side, isn't it? So whenever you calculate from left side of the point or section, then clockwise moments will be positive and anti-clockwise moments will be negative. You have to be very careful. Okay. So since it is going in clockwise direction, so plus 37.4 into 3, you will get the value in kilonewton meter. Then at B, at C, either you calculate from left side or right side. Here what I will do, I will try to calculate from left side only, because we have two forces, 2 point loads. We have UDL there, so much of confusion, so much of obstructions are there. So better we will try to take it. Okay. So 37.4 into perpendicular distance is 6 minus 50 into 3. What is the value you got here? 37.4 into 3? 112.22. What about here? 37.46 into 6, 4 into 6 minus 50, 150. 74.484. Point? Okay. 0.4. So, see, whenever shear force changes its sign or becomes 0, what will happen there? Bending moment will become maximum there. See here, at this point, at point B, we have bending moment, maximum bending moment, that is 112.22. Then we have 74.44. This is also an inclined line. Then we have a 0. How will you go till 0? Since we have UDL, so we'll be going in parabola. So this is positive bending moment. So here, while designing the structure, while designing the depth of the beam as well as reinforcement, what reinforcement to be provided, what is the diameter of the steel to be provided in the beam, that calculation will be dependent on your this bending moment. Okay, whenever you calculate this bending moment, you will be studying in structural engineering, that is Tawseef sir will be taking that. So 112 you will multiply it with 50 times. Okay, 1.5 times you will make it more, then we will calculate further, because it depends, right? Whenever you organize any function in your house, what you will do? You will try to take factor of safety, isn't it? You organize a function for 50 members, you will cook food for at least 75 people, isn't it? So that is the same thing we will do here. Whatever may be the loading happening on the beam, we will try to increase it to 50 times, 150%. That is, if it is 100, we'll try to make it 150, so that it may happen, so you have a function in your house, the general conditions or loadings on the structure is 100 people, 20-30 people, but sometimes during functions, what will happen? People will come, isn't it? So many people will come. We have designed for 20 people, 100 people are standing on the slab, then it may get deflected, it may get failure, isn't it? So many things may happen. So that is why we try to take factor of safety. Okay, so 112.22 is the moment which we consider, and again we will multiply it with 50% more. Okay, this is how we calculate bending moment, and this is the gist of this shear force and bending moment. Why we calculate actually? The reason of calculation shear force and bending moment is the beam reinforcement. What is the steel to be provided in the beam? What is the depth to be provided in the beam? Okay, analysis in one part, design in another part. Okay, one by one we will be seeing all those things. Okay, so in the next session we will be taking up slope deflection method, that is might be tomorrow we have one class, so we will take down that class. Okay.